we used to stay 4 guys in a room at a Red Roof Inn, and we do this thing called scores for floors. And, the low score of the day got the bed, and the other guys were sleeping on the floor.
No way.
God. Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports and brought to you. I'm sorry, I messed that up. It's Foreplay presented by Chevrolet, brought to you by Barstool Sports. That's what we do here at the Foreplay Golf Podcast. You've got Trent Ryan, the Iowa native, with us today, and Dan Rappaport checking in from where? Where are you at?
I'm in California, my parents' house. My fiance lost her job. Unfortunately, we're not going to name the law firm. We're not going to name the law firm that laid her off, but it was a mean one, a very mean law firm. But per her severance agreement, I don't think we're allowed to publicly disparage that law firm. So read into that as you will. But we have some free time, so we're in California.
Amazing. RBC Heritage, obviously, an amazing event. Oh, and Riggs is going to be with us. We have an interview for today's show, and that's happening. In an hour? So Riggs is going to hop in here, so you guys will have to stick around for that.
Yeah, we got Adam Hayes, the caddy of Jon Rahm, Masters champion. He's going to join the show. We haven't done that yet. We're doing that after we record this portion of the show. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to him. Adam Hayes, that's a Danny Rapp kid as well.
Very rich caddy. Very, very rich caddy. This guy, and we'll talk to him about this, started off as an LPGA caddy. Worked for some good players. Jonathan Bird, I think, was the one that he was on for a long time. But then he struck gold with a young Spaniard named Jon Rahm. And I think he's made like millions and millions. You can do the math, millions and millions of dollars over the last couple of years. And Jon Rahm's only 28, and it's only April, so things are going well for Adam Hayes.
Incredibly interested to see where his mindset has always been, and if it's kind of like, did it take him some time to get used to the way that Jon Rahm has to operate? We've talked to Dr. Brett McCabe, who works with Jon Rahm on the mental side, and Jon has his whole entire team when it comes to like how he approaches the game. And in our podcast with him, he talked about how he loves the passion, but man, when you're working with a caddy and you're one-on-one, you're on that team, like that guy needs to be able to share that same mindset with that process as you do, or else you just come off like a huge dick and you make your life a living hell. Like with Barstool, when we work with Dave has a certain way of doing things. And if you can't roll with those punches and kind of like learn how to adapt with the way that he works, you're like, your life is fucking hell. You're like, man, this guy hates me and he's yelling at me and he's like, he wants me to be better. And he's like, he's always 100 miles an hour. If you're not capable of handling that with Jon Rahm, who's similar in that aspect, where he's like, we're going to fucking do this. And if we don't, we're going to get really mad. That's really interesting to see. Like, was he always like that, or did he have to adapt? Because that's not the easiest thing to adapt to.
I'm sure we'll get into that with him. That's the number one thing we got to ask him about, what it's like. I mean, we talked to Jon Rahm about, his passion and the way he conducts himself on a golf course. His answer was super interesting. I'm sure it'll be great to get an answer from the guy who has the front row seat to all of that.
That's right. Shout out to Manny Fitzpatrick. What a win at Harbor Town. He has the whole story of why it means so much to him. Danny, I'm sure that you were on the edge of your seat watching that playoff against Jordan Spieth. He really just showed up and he hit shots when he needed to hit shots. He's it must be crazy for you, Dan, because Matt Fitzpatrick is a legitimate superstar in the game of golf. The way that he can hit some of these shots in the moments that he has to hit them, you go back to in the US Open, hitting it out of the bunker, and then like now just shot for shot with Jordan Spieth, an all-time great of his generation, and just like staring him through his eyes and just like shoving it down his throat and hitting a fucking perfect shot in the perfect moment. Like, that is not something that you just learn how to do. You're born with that shit. Matt Fitzpatrick is a fucking stud. He's a
closer. He's a closer. He knows how to close out golf tournaments, which I think he gets into this mode where he just seems to hit like the same 1 yard draw every single time. He's not someone you want to play against coming down the stretch because he doesn't hit wild shots. And that puts a lot of pressure to play against. With Spieth, that things are going to be a little haywire. There's going to be an occasional hook or an occasional, kind of push cut into the trees. When you're playing against Matt, it's just center of the face, center of the fairway, center of the green, constantly. And Spieth just gave him too many chances. Obviously everyone thought that the putt on the first playoff was going in. That one lips out, and then he had another putt after Matt missed on the second playoff hole. And I think it was Colt Knost who said, You can't keep leaving a player of Fitzpatrick's quality you can't leave the door open like that. Eventually, he's going to make a birdie, and it was the same 9-iron that he hit out of the bunker. So yeah, his 2 wins. He obviously has a flair for the sentimental. He had the personal connection to the country club with winning the USAM there, and then he's got Hilton Head. So wherever Matt, like whenever he feels warm and fuzzy about a golf course, maybe that's the week to bet on him. But talking about superstar, it's been really fun to watch his progression. He's in a different category now than he was before, and his life is very different now than it was before. So we're not as close as we were, just because he has so many different asks of his time, and golf is, like you said, he's on a tier where golf is absolutely everything, and he knows that he's in his window for winning, and he's in his window for capitalizing on everything that he's worked for his whole career. So it's been special to watch, and I think he has a little bit of a brand now of kind of what you were mentioning, of just being like a stone cold assassin.
Totally. And so I saw on Twitter a lot of people were like surprised that when Jon Rahm went onto the went into the booth for the commentary, and he was on the broadcast and really being candid about the way he likes to talk about golf and how obsessed he is with the game of golf. I feel like I saw a lot of tweets like surprised at that. These guys all, when you get to that level, have to be legitimately obsessed with it, right? I mean, or else you just become the Brooks, where you're just like, why would you not care about this? Like, obviously you care about every aspect of this game.
Yeah, it's like, if it's the same thing with you when you hang out with the hockey guys. It's like they love hockey. I mean, they're hockey guys. These guys are golf guys.
But when you get to that point of Matt Fitzpatrick now, though, like I feel like it has to rev up, because he has to have some sort of edge over the other guys to be that stone cold killer, to be able to go against Jordan Spieth. It has to take over your life. I feel like when you're younger, when you're buddies with them like more often, even in the Netflix series, you're sitting at his house before major. It's like crazy. And now it's like, this guy thinks that he can be the winner of all of these tournaments. You have to have some sort of mind change, or like your process has to change a little bit for that mindset to get that extra edge, to have that leg up on those guys.
100%. And yeah, it's different, but it's not a bad different. He's the 8th best at what he does in the entire world. And I think if you were to talk to the 8th best CEO in the whole world, or the 8th best football player in the whole world, his relationship with his friends and his relationship with the outside world, it changes when you reach that level. Like you talk, and obviously it's not black or white, right? It's not like you become a completely different person and you forget where you came from, but your priorities change. I don't think we'll be having dinner before the final round of majors because of what you talked about. It's different now when you feel like you're in that category and you're in that tier. You don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your window. And Matt is also a unique case where he doesn't feel like he's as naturally gifted as the other players. And he knows that what's been key to his success is that obsession with getting 1% better. And you guys know what it's like too. Like when something does well, when a video does well, or it motivates you to do more. It's not 100%. Like, oh, you know what? I'm fine now. Like it's like, holy shit. Like we actually have the potential to do really cool shit. Let's put the pedal to the metal even further.
I'm sure you get obsessed with the feeling too. That feeling of winning a golf tournament, I can't even imagine it. Like winning the US Open is a life-changing event. And then, 10 months later, winning this event that you've been coming to your whole life, you have a special connection to. Yeah, the window thing is a great point. There's only so many windows. Some people don't get any window at all.
Most people, the vast majority of people don't get any window.
The large majority of people, especially in the game of golf, there's no window. It's a windowless building. There's none of them. But for Matty Fitzpatrick, there's a window right now and it's wide open. He's playing well. He just has such great control of his swing, and that speed training, it seems to have really paid off. I forget what it's called, but he's obviously hitting it further. He can hit it with the best of them. Yeah, he's just got a window right now.
Stack system. Sasha McKenzie, who stay tuned.
Yeah, that's what I think you're going to see a lot of the stack system, and that's going to be very interesting. You know that we've been part of the Chevy EV family, but we have big news. Trent Daddy, the first ever all-electric Silverado, is officially Barstool's most valuable truck. We got the chance to see this thing and experience it. It is a game changer. the commercial. It's coming out. We just put it out on social media.
It's already out. People saw it. People loved it. It's the quality of it. Shout out to the team that does it, Rob and Corey and all those guys. They make incredible commercials, and Chevy makes incredible EV Silverados, and we got to see them in person, and they are incredible.
On a full charge, there's a chance to get 400-mile range.
Dude,
on your Silverado.
All right, so I filled up my gas tank the other day because I still am in my lease and I don't have a Chevy EV quite yet. It got 300 miles with a full tank. So you're telling me a full charge gets 400 miles.
Plus, you're getting over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate, large 17-inch diagonal display screen for that infotainment system. I love that stuff. You can tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing, 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with wow mode, up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. This is the all-electric Silverado, Barstool's most valuable truck. Head over to Chevy.com to learn more. We saw this thing. It's incredible. So make sure you go check out the website. Go do all your trims. Go see the interior. Go see the exterior. You're going to be blown away by this first ever all-electric Silverado from Chevy. Chevy.com to learn more. You talk about Matt Fitzpatrick, but we also have to talk about Jordan Spieth in the same vein. Like, Fitzpatrick is a closer, but holy shit, Jordan, it's just the ball just wouldn't go in the hole for this guy in those playoffs. It's just he's such a roller coaster to watch as a Jordan Spieth fan. You want him to win. You want him to rack up all of these victories so that at the end of his career, you got a chance to watch a great of his generation. I love when guys who have wins stack up more wins. I've always been a big fan of that. So I was rooting for Jordan Spieth coming down the stretch. I'm like, I would love to see this guy go back to back. I want Harbour Town to fire off 2 cannons next year and do all these things that they were talking about on the broadcast. And those balls are just lipping out and he's just short on the short side. It's like, why does this happen to Jordan Spieth? Why is it such a roller coaster? Why can't it be easy for him? It's almost like watching the Islanders. Like, why he's doing a lot of things that he deserves to win, and why can't it just fall for this guy?
Yeah, it takes some kind of stones to raise your putter on an early walk for a putt to win the tournament.
That thing was going in though.
It was going in the whole way until it wasn't.
But I mean, unless it's like a 5-footer and it's dead straight. The early putter raise to win the tournament, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
I love it.
It's obviously epic if it wins, but if it doesn't, then you're setting yourself up for an all-time gif. Yeah, I think one of the things with Jordan also is that he shows how much it takes out of him. Like other golfers, sometimes there's a roller coaster, but they don't really show emotion. Jordan Spieth, after he made that putt after he made the putt to get into the playoff, he was like, it looked like he had been through war. And I think it's that emotion that brings fans on the journey with him.
That's all part of it. I get what you're saying. Like, Frankie, I'm usually rooting for him. But I'm also just there to experience what Jordan Spieth is going to do. It's like when he got into a playoff with Matty Fitz, it was less about I'm rooting for Jordan Spieth. It was more I'm excited to see what fucked up shit Jordan Spieth is going to do in this playoff. And that, as much as I want him to stack up wins and be an all-time great, he's pretty much there already. He's had like 2 parts of his career pretty much. And I want to see him get more wins, but I just want to see him be involved. And there was that stretch not too long ago where he wasn't involved anymore. And people were like, what is happening? Where's Jordan Spieth? So just the fact that we have him back in our lives and we have that anxiety watching him, that's enough for me.
He does the early raise, and that's a part of his game. He does a twirl on every single iron shot approaching the green, even on 18, even in the playoff in the final shot, he like twirled that club and the ball like flew the green on the back of the green. You're like, I thought he matched Fitzpatrick. I'm like, this is great. Like when you're watching this guy react, you're like, that's in the hole. And then the ball just like flies over the green. He has like a 80-foot putt to try and like push this match. But that's just who he is. He's a roller coaster of emotions. On Twitter, it's very funny to watch like the Jordan Spieth experience. All these guys. I know Kyle Porter a lot of the times will get in the mix on like the screenshots of just like a Jordan Spieth round where it's like he's like hitting a ball lefty next to a tree and he's inside somewhere, and then they'll show all the people around him, his whole entire team just so drained from the Jordan Spieth experience. I fucking love it.
Yeah, he made me laugh really hard. I mean, he does it a lot, but on 17 yesterday, it's the second hole of the playoff. He's him and Adam Hayes, or not, sorry, Adam Hayes is on my mind. Him and Michael Greller are going back and forth on shots, and Spieth's like, oh yeah, is there wind up there? Like, you think the wind will hit it? And Greller goes, yeah, the flag's moving. And there's a quiet silence, and Spieth goes, I mean, it's not. That's why I'm asking you. It's like, he just says things like you would say to, you know what I mean, to your buddy. You're just like, on the second hole of the playoff in the RBC Heritage, you're like, well, no. I'm just going to sound like Riggs here. This is like a Riggs.
Yeah, well, no,
it's like, well, no. I mean, flag's not moving. That's why I'm asking. So, yeah,
dude, Michael Greller, I picture him as a guy who drinks a lot of bourbon at the end of the day. At the end of every,
deep breaths, man.
Deep breaths, and he does a hell of a job. He's made a ton of money working with Jordan, and they seem like they're really good friends, and that's why they can talk to each other that way. But there's got to be a bottle of bourbon that he just uncorks Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night and Sunday night if he makes the cut.
Greller was like a high school teacher, right?
Yeah,
he worked in Iowa.
Teacher.
Yeah,
is that right?
Iowa. Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely has that patience to be able to deal with a young brain that's just so manic and crazy and out of control, where he's just like, go ahead, like, we're gonna get through this. You can use me as your punching bag, and I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna wait. But he could act like he's got all the tools to be able to deal with it, but we know that when he gets home, it's just a big sigh of relief that's over, and it's just a crack of the bottle. You sit down, you sip on it with a nice ice cube, and you're just like, fuck, man, another week in the books. Let's just get to the next one, because it's exhausting. It has to be exhausting. And we're going to talk to Adam Hayes about what it is about working with a guy that is exhausting. They're mentally exhausting, these top tier athletes that want it so bad. They have to be.
Yeah, and caddying is a unique role in professional sports. It's right. Like, it's there's really no comparison. Like, it's not like a coach in football, because you have your team. It's like you're sort of on the team, in the sense that you're the only guy who can talk to him, but you can't hit the shot. And if it's a good shot, the player gets the credit. If it's the bad shot, that's when it's the caddy's fault. So yeah, I'm excited to get into the nitty gritty of it. But I think Greller's, he's got also the crazy tan line that all the golfers have, and his hair is not doing so hot. So he looks like it's taking a lot out of him, and I'm sure it is.
The Patrick Cantlay video that went super viral of him just standing over the ball. It looked like
5 years ago.
Yeah, it's just it looks. Well, that was a 5 year ago video.
Yeah, that was at Bethpage.
Oh wow! See, I got
4 years.
That. I thought that was like this week. I wasn't even paying attention to like.
You talking about the one where he's just wiggling and he's like, he's got like Lexi. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's gotten a little bit better. His routine over the ball has gotten a little bit better, but he just takes so long to decide what he's going to do.
That video is insane. I mean, everyone commented on it. KFC was talking about it. Whitney's talking about it. Everyone on Twitter's like, there's no way this is real. This guy has to be like put in jail for doing that. I mean, how does anyone playing with this guy be like, that's acceptable? I mean, I know that you're saying he's gotten better, but that's just a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face to every single person that you're playing with. That's not what I said last week. Last week I was saying, like, whatever your process is, you have to stay within it. Like, some guys play faster. Why are you not allowed to just gain a little bit more time on the other end? But that was egregious. That was like, this is my golf course and you're going to play at my pace. That was fucked, that video.
Right. And I think his persona, he almost seems like he leans into it. He's never, he tweeted, he made the hole in one, and he tweeted something like playing faster, which was definitely funny. But he's never gonna, Max Homa, I think, handled it the right way which is just lean in, like, be public about it. He was like, I'm trying to get faster. Patrick's not going to do that. He's just going to wear his all black, and he's going to give very, very sort of vanilla interviews. And it's just sort of like, this is what it is. And, I've said it before. Yeah, it is a slap in the face for sure, but it's also like, it's hard for me not to just blame the PGA Tour. There is a rule on the book that says you have 45 seconds to play a shot. That rule is broken every time he hits a shot. Like, unless they enforce the rules, like you mentioned last week, Frankie, the players they're playing for so much money. They have these processes. They're going to do what they feel like they have to do to shoot a lower score. It's the tour's fault.
But look at what the pitch clock has done to baseball. People love it. People love it. And I'll be honest, I haven't heard much from the players on whether or not they like it, but it has.
Who cares?
it's seeming like those guys are playing for a lot of money too. Pitchers make a lot of money. Baseball players make a lot of money in general. I think if they wanted to start enforcing that, they could, and it would change golf for the much better. And like before the pitch clock, I would have said, no way, you can't change a sport in that way. Dude, baseball is one of the most traditional, slow-moving, glacier-paced change sports in history, and they put a pitch clock in there, and it has transformed the way that a baseball game, a pace of a baseball game.
So it's making an actual. I haven't paid that close of attention.
There was a
making an actual difference.
There was a Milwaukee Brewers game, I think, that went like 2 hours and 10 minutes, and they had to like change the rules of the stadium to allow more beers to be consumed through the ninth inning. Usually you cut it off after like the seventh inning stretch or in the beginning of the eighth inning. They're like, you can drink until like an hour after the game now because they're not making as much money because the games are going so fast. That's an amazing improvement. And some players are taking advantage of it. Garrett Cole, I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, so there's bias, but he is taking advantage of just like stepping up and like knowing the pitch and not thinking and just going now. And he's 4-0 with a 0.85 ERA, a shutout, a complete game. He's got like 40 strikeouts. I mean, the guy's pitching out of control, and you could kind of tell it's like a rhythm thing now where it's like he's getting into a rhythm as opposed to just thinking about every single pitch.
So, and the videos existed like the we see with the Patrick Cantlay one in golf where they had a side-by-side, when the pitch clock first started going, where a guy threw one pitch on the one side, and then on the other side, a guy got through a full half an inning in between the guy throwing one pitch. So, like, it was a problem the way it's a problem in golf.
Well, it's like they put the Cantlay video side by side with Happy Gilmore finishing out. He like 5-putt. Did you see that?
Yes.
Danny,
so
what's
is the pitch clock visible? Is the pitch clock visible in like? Can you see it from the broadcast, or is there like a little?
No, it's actually visible for the pitcher. It's like behind the home plate. So,
so they do that with golf, where it's like someone's walking, like with the they have the walking scorer who's walking around. Maybe there's just a little clock on it.
What's all right? I think yes. And Dan, what's the penalty technically if they were to enforce it right now? Like if someone goes over, what's the penalty?
So they changed it a couple years ago. And remember there was a whole like news cycle with Bryson about him playing slow, and Brooks called him out, and it started this whole thing about slow play. This was before Liv just dominated everything. And they made there's a policy. It's called like time par, I think it is. And they have a certain, pace that you need to play. And if you get a bad time, which I think should be over 45 seconds, I think is the rule, then you're like officially warned. And then, eventually, I think a second bad time, you get a penalty. And it has happened very, very rarely, but not really on the PGA Tour. The PGA of America gave this guy John Catlin a slow play penalty like 2 years ago. And Augusta gave their first one in like 40 years to the 14-year-old kid, and he still made the cut. Yeah. Tin Lian Guang in 2014, I think he was the first guy to get a slow play penalty in the Masters in like all decades, and he was legitimately 14 years old, and they gave him a penalty. He still made the cut, which is pretty epic. But yeah, I mean, if you handed out a slow play penalty on Thursday to Patrick Cantlay or to someone else who's a big name, like that would scare the crap out of these guys. Now they know that there's no consequence, and that's what Cantlay said after the round. They were, because obviously what happened on 14 with his ball nestling between the railing and the water, like that's a very unique situation. Yeah, it was a wedgie. It was a proper wedgie. That's a unique situation. But what he said afterwards was, I just needed to make sure that I was 100% committed to what I was going to do, and I wasn't really going to pull the trigger until I was 100% committed. That's not how this is supposed to work. You don't get unlimited time.
Right.
Everyone would love unlimited time to be 100% committed to what they're going to do. But part of the challenge of the game is being like, all right, it's been 45 seconds. We got to shit or get off the pot. He just sat there. And Dottie Pepper, who is not one to stir up controversy.
She got me blocked on Twitter.
Does she?
It's amazing. It's an amazing block.
I'll have to check if she still got it. It was been years ago.
That's an amazing block. That's an amazing block. And then I heard Pasha from Spit and Chicklets. He's like one of the editors. He's like blocked by the New York Rangers because like James Dolan didn't like how much he was talking about the Rangers because he's a Devils fan. That one made me laugh really hard yesterday. But I mean, Dottie Pepper's such a random block of Trent
Ryan.
Crazy.
It's so good. She was saying like, Fitzpatrick and Spieth were upset. And if you look at Fitzpatrick's caddy, who's this like Billy Foster's old British guy who's, doesn't give a crap about offending anybody. You can see on the tee, I think it was like on 17, and he's just going like this. He's like, oh my God, this is the worst. I can't believe I'm still out here. So, but again, until the tour changes their policy, nothing's going to happen. Text me about the Dottie.
I've been freed by Dottie Pepper.
Hey.
No way.
If this is her official Twitter account, which has got the blue check, which I don't know if it means anything anymore, but and maybe that's not the real her. Oh, it looks like there's real people following her. All right. She had me blocked years ago for some reason. And, somebody must have said like, he's not that bad and got me back into her good graces.
It was a 2K deal. Maybe she plays a lot of 2K. She's like, who's this Trent Ryan that I'm striping baby fades with in the fucking video game? If you suffer from symptoms of ADHD, which is lack of focus, no productivity, your brain is constantly wandering. I mean, is this speaking to me or what?
Yeah.
You need to check out Proper Wild's clean all-day energy shots. We have these Proper Wild little nips of energy right in our bags. We keep them in our golf bags. I'm popping these things like crazy because I love the clean feeling. There's no preservatives, no artificial sweeteners, no horrible chemicals. Proper Wild uses organic caffeine stacked with L-theanine, which has clinically been shown to boost your energy, focus, and productivity without the jitters or crash. The jitters to me is what I can never take like energy boosting drinks because I feel like I'm going to pass out. You drink some of these things, you feel like you're drinking chemicals. You feel like you're destroying your interior system. And now with Proper Wild, it feels like you're actually having something super healthy because you are.
Right. I prefer Proper Wild when I play golf because when I drink coffee and I play golf, I do feel jittery. I have that jittery feeling that I hate when you're standing over the ball. You feel like your body is buzzing. With Proper Wild, that does not happen. It's a clean caffeine. You drink it and you just feel more awake. When you're over the ball, you don't feel like you're vibrating, which is a good thing. Everything helps when your golf swing is working all together. So drink Proper Wild on the golf course. Just skip the coffee and drink Proper Wild.
Make sure you get a pack because I'm telling you right now, you're going to want them in your golf bag. Natural tasting energy shot with clean ingredients that work. So go ahead to go to properwild.com/barstool to try Proper Wild 30% off. That's properwild.com/barstool. Try it right now. Proper Wild 30% off.
How are you guys playing with your characters? Have you like broken 90, Trent? Or
I played I actually played yesterday like a leisurely round of golf. I was laying on the couch and I just kind of ripped around Torrey Pines fucking south, and I shot like a 83 with my guy. It was so much fun. It was crazy.
Do you just only play with your guy now? Is it like, yeah? I mean, I'm gonna play with myself. I mean,
it's hard to not play with yourself. It is hard. It's
really hard.
It's hard. To not play with yourself.
No, I've been playing with myself as well, and it's extremely difficult. And I know people have been doing it. They've been playing with my guy on Legend, trying to break 90. And one guy like put up an Insta story like, "Here I go, I'm gonna try first go at it." And then 30 minutes later, he DM'd me. He's like, "I shot 116. It's the hardest thing in the world." So it is very difficult. It's very difficult, but it's fun. It's fun. Like when you play with Tiger, you play with Colin, or you play with whoever. It's pretty easy. It's pretty relaxed. You don't have to be that engaged. But when you're playing with a guy like me and my stats and my attributes, it's like a real round. You got to focus on each shot.
Did you see that design company that tweeted out? They do a bunch of virtual golf courses and golf course designs. And actually 2K, specifically HB Studios, when it was just the golf club, they really were hammering home the fact that it was a home for like golf course architects to like try out new styles and like it's a real simulation of what your golf course would be. And I mean, for anyone that's interested in that stuff, make sure you buy PGA Tour 2K23 and go to the course builder. It's amazing technology. You're talking elevation changes. Everything is to the exact foot and inch, and you can put in first cut of rough, second cut of rough. You can put in trees, the different types of trees. Everything is perfect to what you would want to do in your real course. So much so to the point that Sand Valley actually is building Lido Golf Club based off of what a virtual golf course architect did on PGA Tour 2K21. Someone built Lido Golf Club, rebuilt it from what it originally was here on Long Island, and now they are taking that data and building a real golf course based exactly off that data. That's incredible. So
That's
someone,
sick.
oh yeah, it's an amazing story. It may have been this guy that did that Lido golf course, but there's like a group of digital golf course creators that tweeted out that Trent Ryan being in the game now is such an asset for golf course builders to see if their course is realistic enough for the everyday player. Like never had they had the chance to tee off with a guy that could max out 220,
Right.
and like
There's
where
never
the
been
balls
the
would roll.
combination of technology where it's like the golf course is so realistic and the average golfer is so
Here,
realistic.
I've got the tweet here. It's from DR Golf Design on
Exactly.
Twitter. He said, a serious tip for virtual golf designers and PGA Tour 2K, play test as Barstool Trent from the club tees and see if your hole designs make sense for his stats. If you want realistic courses in terms of playability, you should be able to play enjoyable round as him without crazy force carries, feasible second shots, etc., etc. Barstool Trent and PGA Tour 2K may not realize how much they've helped us test our courses for different player capabilities. For me, this is really useful.
You need a royalty. I mean, you need some. You're the biggest gift to golf course architecture since.
But
since
it makes sense. Like if you're building this course, because when you're building a course on 2K23, you can play test each hole. So like when you finish a hole, you can kind of just have a player up there, and it's usually your created player, and that guy hits the ball 330 yards. He has a perfect draw. Your irons will spin right back to the hole. Like everything's perfect because it's just like a created player that you've kind of boosted all the attributes to. And you sort of build the course based off that. Like you put bunkers in places that you want to hit over those. So it's like the distance debate in real golf, where it's like, who are these courses actually made for? And if you're trying to make a realistic golf course, you actually have to do it towards Trent's style as opposed to the guy that's hitting at 330 every single time with a carry, or else your course is not realistic. So it's really, really interesting. I don't think 2K ever saw it being like realistically useful when they put us in the game, but it's now like you may now help a real golf course be created if you think about it in some weird like butterfly effect way.
I knew my horrible golf was going to pay off for somebody at some point. We've made a decent career out of it, but I'm really happy that it's helping the virtual golf designers. I really am. When I saw that tweet, it brought me a lot of joy. They put in a guy in the video game whose attributes are so low but so normal that he's going to help people design golf courses. That brings me a lot of joy.
It's amazing.
Just the legacy you're leaving.
It's a legacy. That's what I said. It's a legacy.
It is a legacy. Just to finish up the RBC, there was a lot of talk about it being a designated event going in right after the Masters. How do you think it all kind of went together? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, Rob and I, our social guy, were talking about this, that, he didn't expect to be nearly that locked in the week after the Masters. I think it's just the big names sell. The big names are sexy. It's just kind of how it is. I think if you can have a leaderboard like that with Spieth and Cantlay and Fitz and our guy Spieth, who's really, I think he's up to 23 in the world. So another great.
I had him written down just as somebody to mention that he is.
Yeah,
he's a star.
He's just having a great couple months. I think it went pretty well. It'll be interesting to see what the ratings are, because it's so hard to tell. Golf Twitter is going to be fired up. Anytime Jordan Spieth's in contention, it's going to feel big with Golf Twitter. It's just whether people had golf fatigue, because there was some competition with the NBA playoffs and stuff, but there was no football, so I'm interested to see what the ratings come in at. But I would be surprised if the one that's really going to be a problem is there's a designated event the week after the U.S. Open, the Travelers. The U.S. Open's in Los Angeles.
That's the other side of the country.
Then the Travelers is in Connecticut. This one, at least, I think it's only like, a 3-hour drive or whatever. Those guys probably took like a 10-minute ride. These guys are going to have to fly from L.A., probably on a red eye, to Connecticut for a designated event the week after. So I think the schedule this year was really just thrown together, really like copy and paste. Let's do what we can. I think next year will be a much more like even cadence.
And I don't think we've done a podcast since the penalty for Rory came down for skipping the second.
Yeah, what was your guys' take on that? Because I've given takes.
He's got to give up $3 million from what he made last year, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah. So basically, what they did is with the player impact program, the way they incentivize guys to play in all these designated events is you got 75% of your money in January. So Rory finished second, which was $12 million last year. So he got $9 million after the Century in January. And then the last 25% is contingent upon you satisfying three things, which is playing in, I think, 16 to 17 designated events, playing in one additional event that's not designated, and then doing some sort of service day, whether that's, whatever, a clinic or whatever it is. So yeah, he won't get that last $3 million. But I think more just optics. What was your guys' opinion?
It's not good for Rory. It looks bad for Rory, especially a guy who was one of the loudest voices in the room for these changes, for designated events, for all these guys to get together. Like that's going to that's going to result in the best product. That's going to get the most eyeballs. And then for him to miss one, it's bad optics for him. I think there will be changes to the schedule next year. So I don't think this will end up being a problem annually. But you got to just like what it does. It opens the door for guys to miss two events. Fake. What?
I mean, guys can call him, phony now because he's the one who's pushing.
It's a bad look for him. And overall, I think it kind of opens the door for guys to just do the math on if they want to miss an event or not. Like Rory doesn't give a fuck about $3 million. $3 million means nothing to Rory. And there's other guys on tour who have so much money, a lot of the guys, that they're like, all right, if I miss this second event, they're going to penalize me this much. You hope that guys don't do that math and they just play the events that they're supposed to play. And hopefully the PGA Tour changes the schedule next year so there isn't this issue. But overall, it's just a shit look for Rory, a guy who was the spokesperson pretty much the whole last year. Like, this is what we have to do to make golf survive in a live world.
Yeah, I think it's a shit look for that. But I also, there's a part of me that loves the fact that I'm thinking about him being super distraught that he can't perform at the Masters, and it took everything out of him that he can't even play a golf tournament this week because he cares so much about it. Or maybe something's deeper where he doesn't feel right. He's maybe a little something. He tweaked something. Has there been any news about it being hurt?
No, and that's the other thing is that Jay Monahan just never says fucking anything, which is just crazy to me.
So we're all in the dark about why he did it, right?
But then a guy like Rahm comes out and not specifically, but he buries Rory. He buries him.
That's what I was going to say. It looked worse in the wake of Rahm being like, I'm doing this because like if I was a kid, I would want to see the Masters champion.
Yeah, that was a shot.
Right.
You
think that was
Rahm's
a shot?
comment was a shot at Rory, I think. When I saw
so?
that, I was it's just
that's not really how Rahm operates.
No, it's not, but it ended up being one where it's like, because we say Rory is the voice of the PGA Tour, and Rahm basically bringing it to like the kids argument where it's like, if I was a kid, I'd want to see the best player. I'd want to see the Masters champion. I'd want to see these guys. Like,
you think it was a purposeful shot or just like, it happened?
No, I think probably Ricochet. It's probably Ricochet's shot that he didn't realize it was going to hit him, but it hit him hard because it's the argument when like the Cavs used to sit LeBron and they would show like, or when the Lakers sit LeBron, they'd show like the ticket prices when LeBron would go to like this Sacramento Kings game or like an Oklahoma City Thunder game, and the tickets prices would be like $1,200 to get in. He'd be sitting there just not playing. It's like, yeah, maybe he doesn't owe it to every single person in that room, but he does kind of owe it to like the people that spent all that money. It's the situation you just put yourself in by being the best of all time.
Well, think about the stories. Guys. Yeah, think about the stories that you hear of like a Max Homa going to Riviera as a kid. Like those,
you just got to do it.
It feels dramatic. You're like, oh, what is we think the next Max Homa is on property and he's not going to make it because Rory doesn't show up to this event. But it does matter to kids. Like, it sounds so crazy that we're talking about like, think about the kids. But you kind of do at an event like that where they're like, Rory McIlroy. How many times in your life are you going to get to see Rory McIlroy? He's coming to Harbor Town. It's a designated event, and then he's just not there. I don't think it's going to be an annual issue. I think the schedule is going to get worked out. But this time around, it's not the best look.
It is going to get worked out, and also the PIP payouts are not tied to events next year. So that was just this year to get them to play. This year the schedule is just a whack job. But it also must be nice to be so rich that
$3 million.
Dude, he also had the weekend off. It wasn't like he was like grinding and like he lost in a playoff and it was just a whole like he missed the cut. He was in his bed by he was home for dinner on Friday evening. So
Truly Vodka Seltzer, year 5 of the Barstool Classic. They are the official drink of the Barstool Classic and the Fore Play Golf podcast. Right now, they have the new Truly Vodka Seltzers where there is real vodka and real fruit juice in the drink. It's amazing. They keep it real. They use no artificial flavors or sweeteners. It's made with premium vodka for a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste. Fewer calories in these Truly Vodka seltzers. All 12-ounce cans have under 110 calories, which means plenty of refreshing flavor that will not weigh you down. I played golf with Ryan Whitney the other day, and I had a Truly vodka seltzer in my bag, popped it out, put it in a little can, put it in a little cup, had some ice on it. Wow, what a drink. It's a true real vodka, real fruit juice drink, and it just goes down so smooth, so refreshing, lower sugar. Every Truly vodka seltzer contains only 2 grams of sugar, and you can really feel that difference. It's a refreshing go-to drink that is perfect for spring. Take my word for it. It's amazing out there when it's 65 and sunny, and you're just like, wow, this is I'm living life right now.
Yeah, the weather's starting to turn up here in the Northeast, and there's nothing better than that when you turn that corner after a hellacious winter. We didn't even really have a hellacious winter, but it was cold weather, so it's hellacious in my eyes. But we're boots on the ground at these Barstool Classics, where Truly Hard Seltzer has been the sponsor from the jump, and the reviews that we get are rave. They are rave reviews from everybody. These vodka, hard seltzers, people love them. People drink them all day. There's just nothing better than Truly.
So make sure you go to trulyhardseltzer.com right now so you can find where Truly Vodka Seltzer is near you. So make sure you're checking out the website, you're seeing the locator, you're seeing where it is around you at trulyhardseltzer.com. Pick yourself up some Truly Vodka Seltzers and you will not be disappointed. It's the best. Truly Vodka Seltzer at trulyhardseltzer.com. We have our own designated event. I've got breaking news. I hope that everyone kind of just sat up in their office chair. They're kind of like, whoa, what's about to happen? We have an event coming up, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm starting to rev up a little bit. It's called the ROC City Scramble, okay? It's happening upstate New York in the Rochester area, just steps away from Oak Hill. We're coming to the PGA Championship, and we're bringing our own scramble with us. I can't wait to be up there. It's Tuesday, May 16th, the ROC City Scramble presented by Fireball Whiskey. Tickets for this are going to go on sale this Thursday, 4/20. So get your weed out of the way, smoke your weeds and do all that stuff. It's 4/20, but make sure, I think we're probably going to push this at what, like noon? What
That'd
time
be my guess. Yeah.
We'll probably do this at noon. So noon this Thursday, 4/20. Tickets to the May 16th event will go on sale at the ROC City Scramble. This is the golf course that we're going to be doing at, right? Where am I seeing the golf course? Why am I not?
Irondequoy.
Irondequoy. Oh, there it is. I couldn't even pronounce it. Irondequoy Country Club, and I have in parentheses, phenomenal track. Just steps.
Yeah, that's because that's where Bush is.
Bush is from this area, so he knows about it.
His dad's
Bush
member.
says it's
his
a
parents
sick
remember.
track.
That's my course I played at growing up.
Whoa,
that's great. I listen. No. I like that we've got a guy we're having an event at this golf course, so I want to know what it's like.
100%. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a 1 p.m. shotgun start, 2-man scramble, gross scores, no handicaps. You're getting lunch, Fireball cinnamon whiskey, drinks and snacks are all provided. Whole contest prizes for the winning team. Irondequoy Country Club. 44 teams are going to go on sale, and we will open up an extra spot at the end if maybe whatever we're going to see. But we have a lot of spots for people. Make sure you get in. There will be a wait list, so hopefully as many people that sign up, we can get as many people as we can get in. Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, thank you very much. The ROC City Scramble, we're going to be there for the PGA Tuesday, May 16th. We're taking over that week, upstate New York. It's a big week for us. We got major announcements surrounding maybe some merchandise when it has to do with the PGA Championship. Oak Hill is going to be a huge week for us, and we're kicking it off with you guys at the ROC City Scramble presented by Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. Tuesday, May 16th is the event. Write that down. Send it to your buddies. Get it all done. I'm telling you right now, every time we release an event and we talk about it, we say this with the Barstool Classic. 20, whatever it was this year, 24 cities, 24 events. It sold out in 3 minutes and 20 seconds across the entire country, every single event. And the wait list went up to 3,000 people an hour after the thing sold out, and then we had to cut it off because it's just way too many people to be on a wait list. That's how crazy these events are to get in. So if you're anywhere in this area and you're hearing this right now, this audio right now, and you want to play in this event, be ready.
We're all going to be
Thursday.
there. It's going to be electric.
Be ready on Thursday, April 20th at 12 o'clock Eastern to go onto the website that we will be tweeting out, we will be talking about. Make sure that you're ready for this so that you and your buddies can get in and that you don't have to worry about being waitlisted or not in. We're not usually in upstate New York. This is going to be the first time we've done this. We're not always up there. We're all over the country. We're finally coming to Rochester. We're right outside the steps. We're right outside the gates of Oak Hill. This is the event to kick off your week. If you're in the Rochester area, you're playing in this event.
Alex, pump us up. Give us some words about the golf course. How close is it to Oak Hill? What's it like?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's one of the best in the area outside of Oak Hill. And once you get to the back nine on, 13, 14, if you hit a slice a little too far right, you'll be on Oak Hill East.
Whoa.
It's that close. Yeah.
So it's like
there's trees on the right side
club.
of 13, 14.
Right.
And it's like right on the other side. I've definitely hit a T-ball over there before.
This is awesome. I love these events are so much fun. Like, it's a golf week. It's the PGA Championship week. Like, people are jazzed up about golf. And Frankie's right. We haven't done one in this area. We're always in like Arizona or Florida or California doing events like this. It's cool that we're doing one in the New York area. I know we've got a lot of fans in the New York area. So please sign up. Please come out. Like Danny said, we're all going to be there. It's going to be fun. ROC City Scramble.
It's a 2-man scramble reminder. So you're going to sign up with you and a buddy, and it's a 1:00 shotgun, 11:30 a.m. registration lunch, and we should be wrapped up for the whole event around 6:30 that evening. So if you have anything scheduled that Tuesday night, you can still make it. Make sure you get it. I don't want anyone to miss out. So I think we're going to head right into this Adam Hayes interview right now, which I'm really excited about. Jon Rahm's caddy. He will be on the podcast very shortly. So let's kick it to Adam Hayes. If you guys have anything else.
Oh, one last thing. I had a list of things I want to talk about. We hit pretty much all of them. Two things I want to hit quickly. Justine Reed. I don't know if you guys saw the used golf facts stuff. Pretty much. You didn't see it.
No,
so,
I didn't see it either.
All right. I'll try and do this quickly. So one of the No Laying Up guys, Tron, tweeted a picture of Patrick Reed at like a rugby event. It's Collingwood
Rugby.
or AFL.
They're in Australia. They're playing in Australia this week.
That's what it is. And they tweeted a picture. Have to wonder, like, it's him and it's Patrick Reed in the stands, and they tweeted, have to wonder if Used Golf Facts didn't attend due to quality of the seats provided. And then Used Golf Facts tweeted a picture next to all of them being like, these seats look pretty nice to me, from the Used Golf Facts account. So is that the first reveal that we've had?
Wow.
Sorta. I mean, everyone has known for the longest time that it's Justine Reed, but this is heavy confirmation that it's her.
That is crazy.
It's unbelievable. I mean, in the past, she had tweeted when Rory had the rules violation on 18 at the Farmers when Patrick Reed was getting in trouble, I think it was. She tweeted from the Used Golf account and then tweeted from the Patrick Reed account. So it's been Justine Reed forever. But now we pretty much have 100% confirmation that it's her.
What a lunatic. What an absolute lunatic. That's incredible. The fact that she just doesn't care anymore. If you now, like, in her mind, doesn't she realize that people can just go back and just confirm that all the insane things that have been coming from that account has just been Justine Reed? That's crazy.
And I think there's been like official denials from Patrick or from Justine being like, this is not me. And I'm sure that, he's involved in lawsuits on lawsuits on lawsuits. I'm sure that this is relevant to that. So for her to just pull the mask off is unhinged. That's unhinged behavior.
So that was one of the things, and I love it. It's one thing that other sports really don't have. They don't have someone's wife on a burner account that everyone knows that it's her. That's great.
Amazing.
And then I just want to quickly say that Zurich Classic merch, we're going to be down there.
That's right.
We're going to have merchandise in the tent at the event. So if you're going to be going to the Zurich Classic, come on out. We'll be around. Barstool Sportsbook is the official sponsor of that event. And we also have merch in the tent, some cool designs, polos, hoodies, things that we've had before at other events are now at the Zurich Classic. So come out, buy some merch, and say what up.
And look for our tent at the Zurich Classic, aside from the merch tent. We're going to have the Barstool Sportsbook area. It's like an activation zone, I think, with Ben Mintz is going to be there. I'm sure Megan Making Money will be down there. I don't know for sure, but I know she was there last year. And we're going to have a full swing simulator in there. And it's just a really cool place to be able to sign up for the Barstool Sportsbook, meet everybody that's working on it, meet all the guys that are going to be down there. And it should be a really fun week. I'm going in and out. I got the Islanders playoffs tonight. So if you guys are listening to this, I'm either the happiest person in the world after game one or the saddest person in the world. We have like 1,000 people coming to Borelli's tonight on Monday night when we're recording this. I'm very excited, very, very nervous. But yeah, it's just, so I'm going to be flying in Tuesday. We're going to be there Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm flying out because I got the Islander game on Friday at UBS. But so I'll be watching an Islander game in New Orleans on Wednesday, which is not going to be fun for anyone in that city. But it is.
What are the opening odds on that series? Like, who's the favorite?
The Islanders are like plus 155.
Okay.
And,
Oh, that's not bad. They're
the
alive.
Canes are like minus 190 right now, I think, live to win the
All
series.
right.
Yeah,
You
I mean, the
never know.
Hurricanes finished with like 10 more wins, but they also finished the season 9-8-1. One of their best players, Svechnikov, got hurt for the rest of the season. They don't have like a number one goalie. They have two really solid goalies, Freddie Anderson and Ranta. The Islanders have just like things going. And what's crazy is tonight is their best lineup they've had all year. Like everyone's kind of
They're healthy.
Is Barzal back?
Barzell's back for game 1. I saw him after game 82 and he came down and looked at me and goes, I'm back. He gave me the Jordan, I'm back. And like no one had known at that point. And I was like, no way. Like I thought he wasn't even going to be back for like the whole playoffs. And he looked at me with like a smirk. He goes, I'm back. I'm like, no way. And
Well-
he's fucking back. He's been practicing. He's playing tonight. I'm super excited.
And you guys dodged the Bruins. That you basically already won a playoff series.
Yeah, from the last podcast that you guys heard me on, I said there was like a 10% chance that not only the Islanders make it, but they avoid the Bruins. And I thought it was just going to be, I was calling it like, I was basically going to be like Jesus walking the cross around, like, and he was about to get like crucified. Like that was going to be my week in Boston, like kind of just like walking with it, like, and everyone
Yeah,
just
like,
throwing
it's
things at
inevitable.
me and like they're shitting on me. And then like I end up just getting like murdered and like they're all watching me and like my mom's crying at my feet. Like that's what I was picturing happening in Boston. And just because I got the last laugh over them, I'm looking at a picture in my own office of me just telling the whole city of Boston to suck my dick because I got to do that 2 years ago. And then I would just get all that reversed. And I didn't want that.
They're historically great.
Historically the best team ever.
Right.
Most
Did
wins,
they
most
break the
points.
record?
Yes, in all facets,
Wow.
in every single way. Points, wins, the whole deal. So, yeah,
I'm rooting.
I'm excited.
I'm rooting for the Isles, and everyone who listens to this show should be rooting for the Isles because it's so interesting and entertaining when Frankie Borelli is in the playoffs. It's the best.
I can't wait for tonight. Stu Finer's in the building. We're gonna be going fucking nuts. Anyone listening to this, it already happened, so I can't really.
What's
plug
the
stream.
process like for getting into Borelli's on a night like tonight? Do you need to know a guy? Is it like you pay a flat fee for drinks
it's
and
like,
food?
yeah, it's like $25 and it comes with like pasta, pizza, salad, and then it's like $5 beers. So it's like my dad kind of just like he wants everyone to just be able to sit and eat and not have to deal with like ordering. So it's kind of just like it's like a cafeteria
Sick.
almost, where it's just
That's
like
sick.
we get as many people as we can in. We throw a bunch of food on every single table, and it's just like let's just fucking go. Like we have TVs all over the place. We've got surround sound. Like I have these huge speakers so that you can hear the game, and then we have a little stream that they'll be kicking to from. So they're all watching it in the office, all spitting chicklets. They're watching in the office, and they're going to be basically when a goal happens, they're going to go live to Borelli's, and you're just going to see beers fucking going
That's
everywhere.
sick.
And
That's sick.
yeah. Hopefully there's beer. Hopefully they score
Hopefully
a
there's
goal.
goals.
Yeah. I guess I'll finish it. I played with Whitney yesterday. I played with Ryan Whitney. I know a lot of people that listen to this like to listen to Spittin' Chicklets, and they know that he's a big golfer. The Sandbaggers, one of their best pieces of content that they do. I've played with Whitney a bunch of times. I was nervous going into this one. I brought him to our home track, Colonial. He loved it. He was blown away by Pines. Like we only played 9 holes. He couldn't believe how, dude, it's a 144 rating. It's a 74.5.
Dude, it's a
Really hard golf course, and it's like not easy off the tee visually. Nope. Everything's dead left. You have to basically land these drives in like a 20-yard left to right window. And I was playing really golf going in. I played with you, Trent. We played at Rockville, and I shot a 75, and I was like just shot for shot, just fucking playing really good. I played with Hank the next day, played really well. Henry Lockwood of the Part of My Take podcast, and his buddy Matt, who putts like this sideways with his chest to the fuck like a hockey stick. It's
Side
crazy.
saddle.
Never seen
Yeah.
Side saddle, insane. Missed every single putt he took. It was insane. And then I played with Whitney, and I'm like, man, I played really well 2 days going into this, and now I'm playing with Ryan Whitney, who I care about playing well in front of. It's one of those rounds where it's like I don't want to get made fun of. I want to impress him. I'm taking him to the golf course, and he's really good. He's a fucking like 1.2 right now or whatever. And dude, we went shot for 9 holes. I'm talking, we were all square after 9. He gave me 2 pops on the front 9, but I only needed it once. The other time I had just made a 4 for 3, and he ended up making a 5. So I didn't even need it. And we just would hit drives right next to each other. And then he would stick one next to from 140, he would stick one next to the pin. And then I would just stick one right next to the pin. And we were just having a fucking match, man. Like looking at each other, laughing. Like, this is crazy. Like it felt like Fitzy and Spieth. Like it was like every shot was like, we can do no wrong right now. You know what I mean?
I'm going to make
really
a bold
good.
prediction about your game, Frankie. I think your index reaches the 2s this year.
Oh my God, that's another level.
Dude,
I'd have to.
You're playing so well.
I mean, if
right
you're shooting
now.
in the mid 70s, you're like 95% of the way there.
I'd have to putt my dick off because I think if I can keep my putting to like for sure 2-putt every single hole, and I can start making some of these birdie putts, because I don't make birdie putts. I just don't make them.
If
they
you
don't
putted
go in.
for 1 hour per day for a month, and because you live, how close do you live to Colonial?
Yeah, we're like 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
Yeah, if you 30 minutes, if you just made it part of your routine, I think your game, I think your ball striking is like, it's almost scratch level. Fuck. So you just gotta really sharpen up around the greens.
Dude, when we played, you shot a 75 and you doubled the first.
I know.
Crazy.
I had 2 doubles.
Sick.
And I shot 75. 2 doubles.
Yeah, you're playing real golf. You said you went shot for shot with a 1 handicap.
Yeah, and Whitney's a really good player. He's got that fucking, like, when I caddied, all these guys had these like country club ball flights where like, and I don't know if it's just when you're Fore caddying, but the way the ball kind of just like floats and just softly lands in the fairway. Whitney just has such a nice, comfortable, smooth swing that I pictured it like when I was caddying at the Garden City Men's Club, like just seeing the ball kind of come to me, and it never had a chance of like hurting me. It would just land like real soft and just like perfectly in the luscious fairway. He just never misses a shot, really, ever.
No glove.
No glove. Yeah. No
Lefty?
glove at all.
Stud.
No, he's a righty. Matt Murley came out there and he's just a vibes guy. He just hit a couple shots each hole. They got him rental clubs. He didn't need them. He's just like hitting shots like whenever. He's very funny. Yeah, they're just a great group of guys. And that was just a big round for me to be able to like say that I didn't, because I easily could have embarrassed myself and just dribbling it off the tee and skull fucking wedges, and I felt really good about that. I was like pumped. I like called my dad after. I'm like, I played really well with Whitney. I was like going crazy. I was like really jacking up.
We got to jump into this Adam Hayes interview that you guys are going to hear next. So
Adam Hayes is coming up next, and here he is. Who's planning on doing some spring cleaning this year? You want to dust those hard to reach places, clean out that closet that you know the one, Trent, that you've got those closets that you don't like to open up. You just shove everything in there. Well, right now, here's my advice to you. Clean your house and then protect every single inch of it with Simply Safe Home Security. I recommend this to everyone. I have Simply Safe in my house. I've got it on my back porch. I've got it on my front porch. I've got it near my garage. I've got it every single place. I've got it going into the basement. Every single window you open, an alarm goes off. It alerts the home base that a window's been opened, and then you get it on your phone. Every single time someone walks up to my front door, I get a notification from Simply Safe. I'm seeing them. I've got them up in the sky. I've got them up on the doorbell. It's crazy. You can't come near my premises without me knowing everything about you and who you are and what you look like and what you ate this morning.
I'm picturing your house like the Scarface house. Do you ever see Scarface?
Yeah, of course.
He's just, of course, he's got just a million cameras and screens. Everybody's looking at it, and that's what your house is like. Thanks to Simply Safe, nobody is getting in there. Not the best example with Scarface because he does get raided at the end, but up until that point, it's a very protected house.
To friend. So exactly. Cutting edge technology backed by 24/7 professional monitoring. It's an emergency. In an emergency, agents use fast protect technology only from Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify that the threat is real, so you can get priority police dispatch. 24/7 professional monitoring service costs just under $1 a day. That's less than half the price of a traditional home security system, and it's just less than $1 a day to protect yourself. Have someone monitoring your house, your home, making sure that you are safe. You can lock and unlock all your doors, access every single camera, and arm or disarm your system from anywhere on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer. CNET claims that Simply Safe CNET named, they did not claim, they named Simply Safe Editor's Choice for 2023 in this field. So make sure you're trying to get Simply Safe. I'm telling you right now, you will not regret it. I went with it and I love it. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/foreplay. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your first order with interactive monitoring. That's simplysafe.com/foreplay. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
All right, folks, we're joined right now by a very special guest. He's coming off an incredible stretch over the last, I guess it's been 8-9 days, probably been a bit of a whirlwind. We got Adam Hayes, veteran caddy on the PGA Tour, caddy for Jon Rahm, just recently walked up the 72nd hole at Augusta National with the champ who had it locked up. So my first question is just how much of a whirlwind has the last 8 days been? Because I imagine it's been pretty wild.
It has. First of all, thanks for having me. And yeah, that was incredible. Let's put it this way. The first 4 days were a blur, for sure. I don't think either John nor my heads were kind of in the right place. But as the week went on, got a little bit better. And I actually, looking back on it now that I'm home, playing Hilton Head was probably, not only was it great for John to go do, but I think if we had went home, it would have obviously sunk in, but it wouldn't have been as to be in Hilton Head, and the fans were incredible, and received John very well, and it was cool to see that kind of, let's say, like the American fan base really support John, and so man, it was incredible. It was actually cooler than I could have ever dreamed of going down there. I thought it could have been a little bit of a letdown week, but as the week went on, he played better and better, and we had a good time down there. So it was great.
Yeah. Not all T15s.
You just got to do a victory lap.
I think he gets a little bit of credit for that T15 after that opening round 72. You mentioned that walk up the 72nd hole. I think I read that after John obviously hits his tee shot, it hits the tree, you hit a provisional. The first one's fine, it's just short of the fairway. He lays up, and then I think you said something to him, did you, over the ball, like give him a little pep talk about that last hole?
Yeah, we were. First of all, I saw the ball come down, which is incredible because I never see the ball, and he always sees it. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's an inch off the fairway," or he's like eagle eyes, and so for him to not see it was kind of surprising to me. And he still wanted to hit a provisional, so let him go, whatever. And so when we got down there, we were walking, and he was kind of he was talking about hitting a 3-wood and just hitting it up in the crowd or doing whatever, and I'm like, no, we're just going to hit an iron down there and, kind of hit it where the guys used to hit their drives. And then when we got down there to the wedge shot, I just said to him, I said, "Hey man, I said, let's get this thing up and down like a real champion, and then obviously the rest is history. Hit a beautiful little wedge shot in there. And I will tell you, he'll say that he was trying to land it 4 or 5 steps past it on the slope and kind of let it just trickle back down. And he says that he caught it a little off the heel, but I don't know. I'll give him credit for just hitting a good shot.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the 72nd hole. Let's talk about the first hole, 4-putt, double bogey. What is the conversation like between the two of you walking off that first green? And then, just like, what's going on between the two of you for that?
Yeah. Well, John, as we all know, is gets a little amped up pretty quick. So it was actually a good thing, looking back on it. Obviously it's easy to say now, but even soon after, walking down the second hole, I felt like it was okay because his mind just seemed in the right place. We had talked earlier in the week about, I had said to him I thought the key, because of the weather and the golf course changing, that the guy who was going to kind of be most, I use the word athletic, and who was able to adapt the best throughout the conditions for the week was probably going to turn out to be the champion. And that was just kind of our word, and is to adapt. And when that happened, it was like a boxer getting hit in the mouth, right off the start, and kind of woke him up a little bit, probably took some of the expectations off of him. And I just said to him walking to the second hole, I said, "Hey man, I said, we just got to adapt to that and just keep going. Let's step one step at a time, get one back at a time, and just see what happens." And we did. He went off and shot, made, I guess, what was it, 7 birdies and an eagle after that, and 7 under, and then the rest of the week was just certainly wasn't stress free. But
yeah, that's pretty good golf at that point.
It helped.
It helped. We had John on for the first time about 2 months ago, and we're pretty candid, so we were getting into it with him, and we've made a lot of jokes about him and his the back and forth, the anger, the frustration, some of the moments that you guys have had out there disagreeing, which is what we do and what I think most people that watch golf do. But he, very interestingly to us, was like, I actually learned to I play better when I get mad a lot. That's kind of how it works for me. So with you being out there with him, like, is it interesting for you to kind of try to manage that or channel that, or do you try to like piss him off sometimes just so that he'll play, he'll channel that?
He's pretty good at pissing himself off. So I try not to. But there are times where, I got to kind of, rib him a little bit and get him, get his kind of head into it, I guess. But he's such a competitor that, as you guys, I'm sure, know about him and learned in that interview you did with him. I mean, he is so competitive about everything he does. So it doesn't take a whole lot for him to get in that competitive mindset. But the anger thing it's been cool to watch it transform because, early on in his career, and rightfully so, he took a lot of heat for it. And he maybe didn't let it out in maybe the right way that people would want to see a guy get mad. But he learned from that. I learned from that. And more importantly, he's learned how to do it in the right way that works for him. And so now, he gets mad but you got to kind of let him go. I used to, and I was probably guilty of it when I first started working for him, just because it's what caddies are supposed to do. They're supposed to calm their guy down a little bit. And I used to say, okay, kind of calm down. And he'd be like, I don't want to calm down, and kind of get even more. So we've learned to kind of, you let him go a little bit and you say, okay, here we go. We're back into it now. We've let that, we've kind of deleted that and put it on the back burner or let it go, thrown in the trash, whatever you want to call it. And now we are ready to go and still use that fire and that anger to keep driving you for the next however many holes or whatever you need to get done. So I've been very proud of him, seeing him learn how to control it in a way and use it as a positive for himself. It's been awesome to watch.
Was it did it take a lot for you to adapt to learn how to deal with that? Because I could see my personality. If someone was yelling at me all the time or yelling at himself, I'd take it personally. I'd be like, well, fuck you. Like, I'd want to kind of be as equally as mad at them, but you have to kind of adapt and learn, like, how do you manage this on your end so that you're not taking it personally, so that at the end of 18 holes, you guys still have a great relationship and you move on to the next day. Did that take a while or no?
Not really. It does, but so as I'll call myself now a veteran caddy. I've been doing it for 23 years, but so you have these things. You're kind of
it's legit.
You're an old dog learning new tricks, right? When you work for a guy like Jon. But once I realized the one great quality about a caddy should be like the number one job requirement is to have thick skin and don't take anything personal. I never have taken it personal when Jon says things to me. He doesn't call me a motherfucker. He doesn't talk about my family. He doesn't, do things like that I'm not saying some guys don't do. But Jon's always been very accountable to himself. So it was easy for me to learn that, hey, this guy's not mad at me. He's just pissed off the situation and we're a team and we're going forward. So I've never taken it personal, number one. And number two, it's just been like, letting him be his own person and just, listen, Jon Rahm was a great golfer before I caddied for him, and so not saying that I haven't maybe helped him in some areas, but this guy was going to be great pretty much no matter who caddied for him. And so it's just, you kind of just let him go and not let it get outside of like some parameters maybe we have set up.
Yeah, so I you're caddying for the number one golfer in the world, and I remember, I caddied in one PGA Tour event for the most recent champion, Matt Fitzpatrick, not to brag.
Oh, nice.
And
Very
I asked, it was a 2020 Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and I asked a caddy before, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been John Wood, but I said, what are some tips? And he said, well, the first tip of being a good caddy is getting a good player. So you're halfway there. Tell me the story about you guys linking up, because you had been working on tour, as you mentioned, 23 years. So you had a whole career before this. And it wasn't like Rahm was this diamond in the rough. As you mentioned, he was a guy who, right when he turned pro, Phil Mickelson was telling anyone who would listen that this guy's going to win majors. He's going to be the greatest, best player. He's the number one amateur. Yep. And you get the job. How did that come to be? And did you know what you had when that first started?
Yes, I did actually, because I remember standing on I worked for Russell Henley. Great guy. Worked for him for basically 3 years, middle of 2013 to the end of 16. And I had seen Jon at the Waste Management Phoenix Open and hitting balls. It was the year he finished, fifth as an amateur, and I just remember watching him down the range, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, God, this guy he's got a funky action, but it's really good. And it's a simple golf swing. And then just the way he carried himself, I kind of saw him a couple times throughout the week walking around, and I'm like, this guy's going to be a stud, thinking to myself. And having been around the game, you kind of can, I guess, pick up on a few things that you see in guys and the way they carry themselves when they get in those situations as an amateur. And Jon kind of had that. He had let's call it the swag, right? He wasn't scared. He's pumping the crowd up on, 16 with the Pat Tillman jersey on him. And he was like, this guy was ready to go. And so that summer, obviously Bones was still caddying for Phil Mickelson at the time. Jon was going to be represented by the same management company at the time, was Lagardère. And Bones just reached out to me. And listen, Bones is a good friend of mine. Known him since I came out. He was always one of those veteran guys who would actually talk to a young guy, which a lot of them wouldn't. And so I always had a ton of respect for him. And Bones kind of always, I felt like he was always looking out for me a little bit, like there'd always be some jobs coming up and he'd be like, just kind of a slight little, hey, would you be interested? Or how are things going with the guy you're working for? Not trying to get me to jump ship, but just, you never know in the caddy business, if there's an opportunity and things aren't maybe going great with your player, you could move on. And I was very happy working for Russ Henley. We won the Honda together in 14 and, he was a good player. He took care of me, went to his wedding. I viewed him kind of as he was a friend. And so this Jon Rahm job was coming available, and I'm sure there was a lot of guys' names are in the hat. And Bones just said, hey, if you're interested, I could probably get you at least your name in the hat. And I said, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's certain jobs that come by and certain players, they're like, I call them once in a lifetimes, you're right. And we all know who they are. The Jordan Spieth, the Justin Thomas, the Jason Days, the Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelsons. They're like these generational guys who come by. And if you have a chance, why wouldn't I take the chance and say, yeah, throw my name in there? So he did. And, I wasn't going to leave. I made it very clear that I wasn't interested in leaving Russ in the middle of the year, right? He was having a nice year. He had a good chance of making the Tour Championship that year. And never want to be the guy that leaves at you don't want to be the guy leaving at the wrong time or leaving the guy high and dry. So
right
when Russ didn't make the Tour Championship that year, a couple days later, I got a phone call from Jon's management team and said, Jon would like to, talk to you, or would you be interested? And so I jumped on a plane and flew out to Phoenix and went and met with him for a couple of days. And at the time, his now wife, Kelly, was his girlfriend. And, we met up there at Greyhawk and, kind of hung out and went and played 9 holes and up at Whisper Rock and just kind of hung out for a few days, dinner, got to know each other. And he's like, all right, I think I've kind of seen all I need to see. You can, so I think I actually changed my flight a day early and flew back to Charlotte. And man, when I got home, there was a text message on my phone, basically saying that Jon wanted to hire me. And so then that's kind of how it all went down. So I owe it all to Bones for the most part. And that's kind of how it went down.
How did Russell take it?
Russell's was awesome. Russ was, I think looking back on, I don't know. I mean, Russ and I haven't really talked about it, but we're still friends. We talk about, Russ has gotten into hunting, so I love to hunt. So we've gotten into talking about hunting and doing different things, and we're still buddies. And, I think at the time he was probably maybe a little bit, I wouldn't say pissed off, but yeah, anytime you get, it's probably a little hurtful, right? And so, but he bounced right back. Huh?
It's a younger, hotter wife.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to show some emotions.
Yeah. But, I didn't want to, and Russ has been great. He's won a couple of times since. And so, I've been very happy for him. I think he's happy for me also. And it all worked out.
Yeah, that is such an interesting dynamic. And I, like Dan said, I mean, there's no easy way to just go tell somebody like, hey, like I'm having a great time, but this other guy that's coming up this guy's unbelievable. It's hard to go tell somebody.
It's not you, it's me, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's not you. It's this other guy who's going to win like a bunch of majors.
Yeah,
so.
Vroom.
Yeah.
With Vroom, you can shop thousands of cars right from your phone, and you have your next ride delivered straight to you. How easy is that?
That's really nice. I like that the world is, everyone's going in this direction, right? Amazon, you can get anything you want delivered to your house immediately. You can get a jump rope. It'll be here by noon. Now it's getting to the point where if you want a car, you go on Vroom and they're going to help you get it. You can do it on your phone and they're going to deliver that car to you. I'm understanding that correctly?
Absolutely. I mean, and I've been saying this for like the past 2 months because this is actually true, and it's coming up within the next 2 weeks. My lease is up. I'm looking at Chevys right now because Chevrolet is the greatest car company in the world, and I need to get a Chevy. So maybe I go on Vroom. Vroom is the better way to buy your next ride. You never have to haggle or negotiate the price of a car, so you know what you're getting, and you know that you're getting a good deal. With thousands of cars available on Vroom.com, you can make sure that you get the ride you really want, so you do not have to settle. You have a full week or 250 mile, whichever comes first, to make sure your ride is the right fit for you. So you actually get to test it out, and then you can give it back if you don't like it. Plus, all cars on Vroom.com come with a 90-day limited warranty and 1 year of roadside assistance nationwide, giving you peace of mind while you are on the road. You can trade in your old car when you buy your new one, or you can even just sell your car to Vroom. When you sell your car on Vroom, you get a price instantly, and they'll even come pick it up from your house. Vroom is the better way to buy a car. So if you're a car lover and you're looking for something unique, or you're a busy parent who's always on the go and you do not have time to shop for a car or do the whole hassle the old way, just visit Vroom.com. That's VROOM.com. You can buy a car right now from Vroom entirely online. So next time you need to buy a car, just grab your phone, go to Vroom, grab your phone, go to Vroom.com and check out thousands of cars right now.
Look, we're all obsessed, obviously, with player-caddy interactions, and everybody understands when they go up to a golf shot, anybody, whether you're 50 handicap or whether you're one of the best players in the world, kind of what you're supposed to consider, front end, whatever. Some people like adjusted, some guys don't. So if you could just talk us through sort of your and John's process of, coming up to a ball in the fairway, having an approach shot in, what that interaction's like until he pulls the trigger.
Sure. Well, what a lot of people don't know, or maybe they do, is that John works in meters. So it was a little bit of an adjustment for me when I started working for him. But at the end of the day, it's a number, and you learn what that is. And so when I walk up to John, or we walk up to the ball, he likes the pin first. So it's usually hole. And then if he has any questions about whether it's the cover or whatever, he'll ask me those questions. I kind of just try to shut up and let him ask what he wants to know. But I go through the yardage book either the day before or the night before with the hole locations, and I put them in not only on the green picture, but then I put them on the top of the page, 21 on, 4 from the left, and just do that. So it's kind of all the information's there for him in his yardage book. So I'm not having to show him mine or explain to him, and he can kind of just work through the shot himself. And then I don't know if this is something I picked up on Tiger Woods and Steve Williams. Was lucky enough to be paired with them several times when Tiger was kind of in his prime. And it seemed like they did a lot of their yardages in 5-yard increments, kept it very simple. And whether it was intentional or he did that his whole career, I don't know. But the few times I was around him, it felt like I heard them talking a lot of times in 150, 155, whatever. And I thought that was very interesting and a good way to keep things simple. So John never really asked for that. I kind of just started doing it, and it's worked out. I feel like it helps him be more creative with the shot, and I don't want to use the word pressure, but it doesn't make it feel like it has to be that exact.
Yeah, I mean, we're back in this, and for listeners, we're just having some technical difficulties. So if anything got cut off or a question got cut off, we're back in it. We have Adam back in. The internet's been all over the place. I think it's our end. It's like stopping recording for him.
It's usually us.
It's like there's something afoot going on in the internet verse that's just stopping his recording, which doesn't even make any sense.
Adam's being a real trooper. He's being very very good about it. I did want to ask, you glossed over it. So have you fully converted to the metric system then, or is it only when you're working with John? Like when you're playing golf, do you use yards?
No, I even got my kids using meters now. I mean, we're all.
Oh my God.
No, so it's actually pretty good. It works out good for me because I know, obviously meters is 10% less than the yardage is the for the most part. So it's perfect. It's like I can still play, and if it's John's easily one club longer than me, so it's like, okay, if I'm playing and I zip my little Bushnell and it's 160 meter or 160 yards, then I'm like, okay, what would John hit from 160 meters? And it kind of just works out that way. So I'm still using yards when I play, but I suck, man. I don't play much
that would
anymore,
be.
and I don't know.
You don't play that much anymore, you said?
But I'm starting to get the itch back. I got a I got a son that's 11 that's about to turn 12, and he's starting to get the little golf bug, I think. So I've never pushed it on them for years. They could care less about golf, but recently they've been asking a few questions. They came down to Hilton Head last week and rolled around Rombo in the Pro-Am, and I don't know, maybe that was the thing that'll get them going. So I may have an excuse to start playing again.
Do the events you guys play in outside of like the Open list anything in meters, or is it all listed in yards and you just have to do the conversions?
Yeah, so that's a great question. When I first started with John, this is actually a pretty funny story. I started with him and he's like, I'm in meters. Okay, no big deal. I can figure it out. Well, what people don't realize is back then, we're talking, not that it's that long ago, 6.5 years ago, the guy who makes yardage books on the PGA Tour didn't make them in meters, except for a couple of the World Golf events at the time and maybe a couple of the majors. So everything else was only in yards. So I'd literally have to sit there at night, and I had this little yards to meter app on the phone, and I'd have to go through and change every number in the yardage book. And so, which, listen, on one golf course wasn't a big deal. I'd do 9 holes on Monday night, and I do 9 holes on Tuesday night, whatever. It'd take me a couple hours. Well, you hit the west coast of the PGA Tour, and you got Torrey Pines, Palm Springs. That's 5 courses. Pebble Beach, and so we're going. I'm like, holy shit! I had like carpal tunnel. My arm was like falling off, like blowing through pencils, having to change all these numbers. So I called Mark Long, the guy who makes the yardage books, and I said, "Listen, dude, what is it going to cost me to have you just make meters books every week? Like, it is totally worth it." And then so. Luckily now there's another probably 10 guys or at least maybe 15 guys who do meters. A lot of the Aussies do. A few of the Koreans do. And so now, thank God, he makes meters books. So I'll have my arm the rest of my life.
That's so fun. Yeah, because Pebbles they play 3 different courses here.
Oh yeah, but dude, check this out. Like when you go to a course like, let's just use Maui for example. Now listen, I know you don't need all the yardages on Maui, right? That go, because the worst golfer in the world is going to hit a 250-yard drive, so you don't have to do it like past that number. But that fairway is 100 yards wide, and it's got 1,000 sprinklers on it. And you're having to go through there and change them all. And at the time I did it because I didn't want to, new job, Jon Rahm, didn't want to screw up and give him the wrong number. And I still don't want to give him the wrong number. But now I've done it so long that I can kind of look at, 200 yards, let's just say, and it's basically 182 meters, So now I can kind of, I don't have to, well, then they make the books. But it got to a point where I wasn't like totally freaked out that I was going to, give him 20 yards too much or 20 meters too much on a shot. So.
I wanted to ask you about the kind of unique dynamic that you have had twice and you will continue to have for many, many years going forward, as being an American caddying for the European Ryder Cup team. How do you feel weird that week at all?
I'd be lying if I said no, it didn't feel weird, but it doesn't, I was lucky enough in 2006, I got to caddy at the K Club for on the U.S. team for Vaughn Taylor, and it was like the biggest beatdown in Ryder Cup history for the most part. But it was a great experience. And then, then going and caddying on the European side, the teams have a little bit different dynamic, and it's been talked about. Everybody talks about it. It is what it is. The one thing I will say, and this is what I always remind myself, I told people when they're like, "Are you going to caddy in the Ryder Cup?" Or I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to caddy in the Ryder Cup." Like, what am I going to take it off? But I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, you want to be on a winning team, right? You want to be on the winning team. You want your guy to play well, and you want to be on a winning team. Nobody wants to be on a losing team. So for me, as American as I am, it hasn't been an issue at all. And the European team has been so welcoming to me. I remember the first one in Paris. It was like everybody kind of looked at me a little bit like, we got to watch this spy over here, and,
double agent,
turncoat.
double agent,
right?
yeah.
And but it was, I kind of broke the ice in the room. I'm like, listen, guys, I ran out, yelling, "Go Europe" the first time, and they're like, "All right, I think we're good." So it's been good, and we've had a great time the last couple Ryder Cups. So definitely looking forward to Rome this year.
Rome, man.
Rome's going to be incredible. I mean, I'm actually going there for my honeymoon right after the Ryder Cup, so I can't wait to just get to Italy. I can't believe that you guys are just going to be there and just like enjoying that city and being able to play competitive golf. That's going to be the coolest thing for you guys ever. I mean, talk about maybe the coolest venue for golf ever is Rome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I've heard mixed reviews on the golf course. It's going to be, I guess it's going to be awesome from a viewer standpoint. It's going to be one hell of a walk, I guess, for the caddies. It's like, I guess you got to be seriously part like mountain goat to be able to walk this place. So it's going to be interesting for, if anybody even plays 5 rounds, that'll be an interesting thing in the Ryder Cup, just from a fatigue standpoint. If guys will play 5 rounds, if they'll, hold guys back to 4, make guys sit out a match. So it'll be very interesting. It's a very hilly golf course, which is going to make the vistas and for the fans is going to be incredible. But I'm sure we're going to be feeling it at the end of the week.
Do you train? Do you do any sort of like treadmill, uphill walking, stair climber, anything like that?
No, I don't, and I probably should. I used to be in pretty good shape, and I don't know. Once we had kids, and I got out of going to the gym, and I loved going to the gym, but now I feel like, I don't know, I walk and I stay in fairly decent shape, but no, I don't do any additional exercise. But I might need to.
I think you need to put the jumpsuit on and you need to take your bag and you should train. You should literally train to prepare yourself for Caddie out there. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Just like go walking through town, up and down some hills with the bag on my back.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a professional. This is what I do. Yeah. What are the hardest walks out there? What's what do you dread the most on the walking front?
Yeah. So it's a great question. The one that's overlooked the most, everybody talks about Kapalua, which understandably so. It's an incredibly hard walk, but you do get a couple of good shuttle rides that are very key up some massive hills. But the sleeper one on the tour is Muirfield Village in Ohio. It is,
wow.
If you're ever on site there that week, you'll just pay attention to it. Every hole, the tee's here, and every hole plays downhill for the most part. And then you walk back up to a tee box and then back down and back up and back down and back, and it's just, it is the hardest walk on tour in my opinion. And people will say Augusta's hard, but listen, man, if you think those hills at Augusta are hard, and I don't know, to me, maybe I'm just a golf nerd. I don't know, but like the buzz of caddying at Augusta and I don't complain about the white jumpsuit. I don't complain about walking up the hills. It's like, to me, it's a privilege. And I don't know if it's just the adrenaline. The hills, although they're huge and steep at Augusta, they don't seem near as bad as, Muirfield in the 100-degree weather in the summertime.
Yeah, your boss has already made $13 million this year, which will leave people to do the math. It's been you're on the bag of the number 1 player in the world at a really good time.
Yes.
With all these designated events. Did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that caddying would lead to the kind of living that you've been able to make?
No, not at all. And there's not a day that goes by that I'm not so appreciative of it and don't take it for granted. I mean, I tell people the story when I started caddying. It was the end of '99, basically. I caddied on the ladies tour in 2000. Through basically the beginning of 2004. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think my first weekly salary was like $450 or $500, and they're playing 10.75 is what they're paying out there. They were nice enough to help you with some airfare. But man, looking back on it, I can remember, I tell people we used to stay 4 guys in a room at a Red Roof Inn, and we do this thing called scores for floors. And, the low score of the day got the bed. And the other guy was sleeping on the floor.
No way.
So looking back on that, and listen, I was young. I was 23 years old, 24 years old, right out of college. Didn't really have any responsibility. And so, if you made $1,500 for a week, I was rich. And, we'd hit the bars at night and have a good time. And it was what it was. But as it moved on and I started, fortunate enough being able to work for, new players and players who are making a little bit more money, I was like, start thinking, I'm like, I can make a living doing this. At first it was kind of a bridge between what I was going to do in life. And in 2004, when I got a call from a good friend of mine, Vaughn Taylor, to come work for him, he got his card that year. And man, the first week I remember he at the St. Jude, he was in the final group on the weekend, both days, Saturday and Sunday, with David Toms. David Toms ended up winning. Vaughn finished fourth, and I think he made if I remember correctly, about $175,000 for fourth place. I think it was roughly, and he stroked me a check for whatever, 16 grand or something. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is incredible, like, and now, to see what these guys are playing for, I think, I don't know, what Fitzy win yesterday?
3.6.
Yeah. I mean, these elevated events, that's insanity. So, it's a great time to be in golf, and doing what we do. And, but there's not a day goes by, man, that I take for granted. It's pretty special.
That's so awesome. That's just such a phenomenal story. I love that. Scores for floors.
Yep.
We got to remember
That's
that.
crazy.
Have to do that for
And
our
listen,
own trips.
These aren't floors in the Ritz-Carlton, right? That have been cleaned.
No,
right. There's no carpet.
We're talking the Red Roof Inn on I-10 in Palm Springs.
Crusty.
Like,
No telling
could
what
been a
those
murder
floors
the
have
night
seen.
before, and so
Hard carpets.
yeah.
Trent, it's called me time for a reason. All right. That's
Okay.
what it's called. And so working out should be on my time. All right. I don't want to have to deal with all the other excess bullshit, all the bull crap. I don't like dealing with that stuff.
Yeah.
I get very nervous. I get very anxious
It's
when it comes to
intimidating.
going. It's very intimidating going to a gym, trying out new things, getting your heart pumping, getting a sweat in. You feel like people are looking at you. That's why I got a Peloton. It's in the next room to me right here. I hop on that thing very frequently. I mean, I've got big dates coming up. I've got a wedding coming up.
You've been looking thin, dude. And that's not just me saying that. We played golf with somebody the other day, and they were like, "Man, you're looking thin. Like, what's going on?"
I mean, I am thin, and then I got like I get a fat face. I get fat around the belly. It's like a milk belly. And honestly, it's just because I don't move enough. I'm laying down. I'm watching TV. I'm watching movies. So the Peloton just gets me going. And the Peloton is more than just a bike company. They actually make a treadmill and a rower too, which is incredible. I've looked these things up. I've gone to the Peloton store and tried these things. They're amazing. So you can discover a whole new world of exciting classes that change working out from another dreaded task to something you want to stick with. The tread, I tried this at the store. You just can't. You'd feel like the treadmill is like an old invention, like they've just figured out how to make a moving piece of fabric or whatever that material is, that they would you really can't innovate that more. But somehow Peloton has made the greatest treadmill of all time. The way that it like moves while you walk, and it kind of is just like your knees feel incredible on it, and it's powerful and it's comfortable, and it's just like I'm walking on technology right now. The new tread is, you have to go to a Peloton store and try it out. Like, go at Roosevelt Field here in Long Island. They have one. You walk in, they let you go right on there. You can get a sweat in the store. It's incredible. So make sure you go to your own beat of your own life and your own workouts. You can find what gets you moving with everything from gospel to metal rides, EDM walk, a scenic row through San Diego. Amazing. I like to work out to Foo Fighters. I like to work out to 90s rock. I like to work out to Blink-182 and that whole style of pop punk. No matter where you're starting from, Peloton's expert instructors are there to give you a guide with contagious energy and supportive instruction at every single level that you like to take your workout to. So try Peloton Tread, the row, or bikes risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only. So not available in remote locations. See additional terms for details at onepeloton.com/home-trial. But you have to go right now to that website and try out the Peloton Tread, row, or the bike. I'm telling you right now, you will not regret it. It's amazing. Get your heart pumping, get sweating, get healthy. You've had a lot of moments that you can pick from, because obviously at Torrey Pines and now Augusta National, but has there been one moment where Jon like completely blew your mind with a decision or a shot that you're like, holy shit, I can't believe you just pulled that off?
Yeah, I know the first one. I can tell you the first time I ever saw him hit one of those shots was and it's the best shot that was never recorded on TV. It was on the 13th hole at Torrey Pines South Sunday. He was making a little bit of a run. Obviously went on to win, but they didn't even pick him up till he made the eagle putt on 13. But the shot to get there was he hit a great drive, just leaked right into the right bunker, and he had at the time he was using this TaylorMade, utility iron, had a little wider sole, and he's asking me the number to the front and this and that, and we're kind of should we lay it up? It was a front pin, blah blah blah, and he's like, I think I'm just going to hit this. I'm just going to hit this. He's like, it's a good lie. I know I can get over the lip. I'm just going to hit this and get it up there on the green or around the green. If it comes out right, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, man. Like, let's do it. Because, it was like we weren't leading the tournament yet. I think we're still maybe a shot or two back. We had a couple par five and some scoreable holes I felt like coming in. And, I knew he was an aggressive player. I knew that was his mentality. And this was the first time where he was actually, that I was caddying for him, that he was in the hunt. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's see what you got, big boy. And he hits this shot, and it comes off. I mean, it was the most towering, beautiful shot that to this day I think I've ever seen. Like, just the way it came out of the bunker and landed, went to whatever 15 feet. He makes eagle, goes on to win the tournament. But that was like one of those insane shots. And then just recently, last week at Augusta, that shot on the 14th hole, which John will tell you if you ask him, nobody talks about that shot. I mean, they talk about the 6-iron that he hit on 16, and the this and that and 18, but that shot he hit on 14 from the right rough was 2K kind of stuff. That was video game golf.
Adam Hayes, you're a hero. You've battled through. You've had to rejoin our broadcast 4 times now to get through these technical difficulties that we're having. 4 different times. You've been a trooper throughout the whole thing. So we very, very much appreciate it. I think too, like, we've had Dewey, we've had a bunch of guys on, a bunch of caddies on throughout the years. I think caddies very much align with kind of our crowd and our audience and what we do and everything. So hearing your whole story from the red roof in, the floors, scores for floors, all the way up to that whole tale about, telling Jon Rahm, let's finish this off like a champion at the Masters. It's just a really, really cool story. So we very much appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me, man.
And Adam, I got to say, in the beginning, you were like talking about the Masters and finishing up, and then you made a comment that it definitely wasn't stress-free. Was that a little dig at us for maybe saying that the final round was stress-free from John? I don't know if you saw that come across your social media handles that week.
No, it wasn't a dig at you at all. I wouldn't do that, man. I was just like, stress-free? What do you mean it was stress? It was stress-free, but no, it was definitely not stress-free. But, and I will say this, I've told a few people this. Listen, it's the elephant in the middle of the room, right? The LIV, the PGA Tour, the whole deal going on. At the end of the day, I think we'd all be incorrect if we said it wasn't actually good for golf in a way. But I do feel like, I mean, we're very fortunate that LIV has come along and it's, kind of put golf in the spotlight again, I guess, in a way.
For sure.
But going to that first tee on Sunday, we obviously had to finish up Saturday's round. Going to the tee on Sunday, walking from the putting green to the first tee is one of the best walks in golf pre-round. You walk through the crowd and everybody's yelling. I'm not a guy that gets real nervous. I try not to anyways. You feel pressure and you feel things, but going to the tee Sunday for the final round was the most pressure I've ever felt in golf. It was like you felt like you were carrying the PGA Tour in a way on your shoulders, and in the golf world, there was a certain, I wouldn't say there was a divide, or maybe there was a divide, but it was, you just felt it. It was more than a Ryder Cup. It was more than walking to the final round of the U.S. Opens or anything. And as a caddy, I can only imagine what John was feeling like. But it really did feel like the weight of the world was on our shoulders. And for him to come out and play the way that he did, very controlled, man, it makes it that much sweeter.
I mean, he dusted
awesome.
Brooks. It wasn't even close at the end of the day.
The guy rolled over, so that's stress free a little bit. But it's a It was as a viewer, you could feel the same thing that you just described. It
100%.
felt bigger. It was like, let's go. There's a lot of implications.
Yeah,
here, so.
and you hear stories. Guys talk about, the Augusta crowd is different than, I guess, any other crowd in golf. And it was just really cool. Once Jon started getting the momentum, you could feel the crowd getting behind him also. And it was almost like they were, I don't know if he was carrying them or they were carrying him, but it was a very cool. It was obviously it's cool to be a part of, right? I'd be wrong for not saying it was. I'd be an idiot. But to feel that and to see the wave of momentum, kind of go with him as the day went on was awesome. Because listen, Jon is probably not the most liked guy because he's Spanish with the American crowd, and the Augusta crowd is predominantly an American crowd. That's why they love Jordan Spieth, and they love when the American guys fill back in the day and time. It's just the way it is, and that's awesome. That's the way it should be. But then for them to support Jon the way that they did this year, it was incredible, and I think he's going to be an unbelievable champion for him for this year.
You're
cool.
right about those Augusta crowds, but your guy is becoming an incredibly likable guy on tour. Like, for whatever, people always had that perception we talked about early in the interview about, his anger and his, we call it passion now because we're Jon Rahm guys, but I think it's changing, and he's just he's an easy guy to like, really easy.
Well, and one of the things that the time I think when that really changed was the whole COVID deal after Memorial. The way he handled the press conference at the U.S. Open and then come back and winning. I'll never forget there was, and it's a management company's duty to protect their guys and this and that. And there was talks about, these like prepared statements and these, bullet point answers and things like that. And Jon was like adamant, no, man, I'm going to go in there and just tell the truth. I'm going to just be, and not that the management company was trying to get him to say anything that wasn't truthful. It was just like, hey, and Jon's like, forget it, guys. I'm going in here and I'm going to just tell you the way it is. And that press and he's always been good in press conferences. But that one was, I think it was like, okay, this guy's human. He's not some maniac. He's got this young child. He's got a wife. He's like, he's human. And then he's just kind of, to see him grow from there, it's been incredible.
Wow.
Awesome.
Masters champion. Awesome. Unreal.
Masters champ.
What a world.
Adam, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. We'll obviously see you around, hopefully, at a bunch of different events throughout this year. And thanks for battling through our technical issues. But people are going to love this. So your perspective is very, very cool and well deserved.
You got it, man. We better jump off before this thing cuts off again. So
I know. Seriously, we get like 10 minutes.
We're all nervous about it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Really appreciate it. That was awesome.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.